All right, this is my second time doing this video because I did it in vertical for some reason. I have no idea why. But this is my review. I'm going to try not to do any spoilers of the Brothers Karamazov by Fyodor Dostoevsky. And this book is great. I picked it up because I wanted to grow my reading, basically. I don't know how you'd say that, but basically I have always been into reading books, but never finishing them. I just get bored. And over time that became, I guess you'd say, laziness of not finishing books. And it really became something that bothered me. And I kind of put that off over the last few years. I've been really wanting to get back into reading. And I decided that this year, I had some health issues last year and made some changes in some other hobbies or things that I do. And this year I decided to make a big reading list, as you can see here. But this was the first book I picked, and I decided to read, and I made it through it in about 20, I think it was 20 days. That's a little too fast for this book, I think, but part of my reading it was that I needed to finish. So I was really pushing myself to be committed and reading, and then some of it was just hard to put it down, certain parts. I will say this, is that the plot, the main part of the plot doesn't happen until pretty far into the book. So have some patience. Dostoevsky is really using the plot and everything in the story less to actually tell the story and more to make arguments and counter arguments for faith, for the human condition, for that's pretty much it, like government and stuff like that, but not too much that. But he does talk a little bit about socialism and everything, but the socialism is tied to atheist thought and everything. So I think he's making more of an argument on religion or belief than he is on government or politics or anything like that. But this is a story about four sons, a father who's just kind of a lush. His name's Fyodor as well, Karamazov. And then his four sons. It kind of, in the beginning, it kind of shows you it's three, but then as you learn, there's definitely a fourth. It's a possible fourth, but it's a fourth. So you have Alexei, but that's Alyosha, that's what he's mostly called in this translation. I don't know what the other translations say, but they do call them very different names throughout. I did make this off Reddit, make this little cheat sheet right here. It's on a little thicker stock, and I just kept it in the book. And I needed it for probably the first 100 pages, 150 pages or so, to kind of make sure that I knew who the heck he's talking about. So yeah, the first son is Alyosha, and he is kind of a saint. He's kind of the favorite. He is the good-hearted child, I guess you'd say. There's Dmitri, or Mitya, which he was called a lot in here, Dmitri and Mitya. He is kind of the lush. He's a lot more like his dad, and just kind of living life just in excess, basically. And then the third son is Ivan. He is like the atheist, definitely the thinker. He had some really great points in the book. One of the most famous sections of the book was pro-contra, and it's the Grand Inquisitor. I liked it. I thought it was pretty good, but I read it, and then I went on to the next book. As I read, I made it to the next book, and then I was kind of shocked. And I want to say this is making a broader point about the book. Is I was shocked. I was like, what is this Father Zoshima, the Russian monk book? Father Zosima section. What the heck is this about? And I thought it was so random, I wanted to skip it. That's how random I thought it was. I wanted to get back to the plot. And I think that was, I didn't do that. I read it, and I ended up falling in love with that book. That's probably my favorite section of the whole book. I didn't quite understand why that was there. And I think that's where people struggle with this book. This is the point I want to make, is that you'll be reading things and it seems to bounce around a lot. And you're like, why? Why did Dostoevsky go in that direction? Why did he add that? It seems odd. It seems misplaced. The young boy who is bullied and who basically, without giving spoilers away, the young boy who's bullied, people who've read the book, you'll know what I'm talking about. That seemed odd. That seemed random. And I think I didn't take the advice. This one advice that I did see is, don't read this for the plot. Read it more of like a philosophical or theological argument. And I think I was just in my mind kept searching back to the plot. Like I wanted to get back to the plot because it was interesting and it does pick up, and it's a really good story, I think. Probably my only complaint, but I did end up growing on it. Did end up growing on me. But the women in here are just like over the top. A lot of his characters are just over the top, but specifically the women are very like over the top. They're oh my gosh, it's just totally crazy. So when you're reading it, there's just take your time with that and try to enjoy it like it's a PBS 1600s England show, or one of those types of things where everybody's super dramatic. Basically, I just want to say that. But what I'll say is as you start getting towards the end, you start understanding why there's different sections in the book, and why they're placed in certain sections. So it's really hard to talk about it without giving things away. But basically, this is a book about murder, plain. That's just like that's the plot, is a murder, right? And as you're going through this, it's not so much just about the murder, even though that is interesting, but it's a greater argument on religion and the human condition and everything like that. There's really interesting reads of seeing why he wrote this and everything. And actually, in the back of this book, in this translation, there's a really good, where is it? The afterword. It gave a lot of really good information. I actually think that I would suggest maybe, I don't know if it gives anything away, but I would suggest maybe reading that, maybe first. I don't know. I don't remember it exactly, but I do remember that I thought Father Zosima was very random, but I loved it. And it is my favorite section. But Father Zosima was the answer to the Grand Inquisitor. And instead of making an argument for it, he basically just shows like a beautiful life lived. And it really is, it's a really beautiful piece, I think. Enough to where I had my wife read the Grand Inquisitor, and then I told her that I want her to read the Russian monk section. And if she doesn't even read the book, that if she just reads that section, I just think it's really nice. But when you get to the last chapter of the book, I think there's like this overwhelming feeling of completeness. I actually was a little emotional. I'm kind of a not tough like tough guy, but like tough emotionally. But it did touch me, and when reading that, it didn't feel like it answered all the questions, but it just felt like the book wrapped up, in that story, the book wrapped up really well. And I felt, after I finished reading it, I just sat in silence and just like thought. I was like, wow, that was good. And the last chapter is just really beautiful. And somehow he just ties the whole book in those last few chapters. But especially that last chapter, it just really felt complete. There are some things about this that will annoy you, not necessarily in the writing, but the story, the way things go, how things go. I'm big on like justice and truth and stuff like that. And there's some stuff that that just hits your heart just a little bit. That just go, oh man, I wish I had a different ending, but you can't always have the best. Everything goes good type of thing. Hopefully I'm not giving too much away on that. But it's, when you finish this book, you will feel like a completeness. It will be like, wow, okay, great book. I'm glad I read that. And personally, I cannot wait to reread this and take a little more time, go through it. I did mark up the book as fast as I was going, reading, multiple chapters a day, sometimes 60 pages. I just was into it. I was marking it. I was, making notes. I do want to make like a little journal and write down some of my favorite quotes, because there's some really amazing quotes in here. Stuff that just makes you just, wow, stuff that was really difficult for me not to share with my wife, because she did say she wants to read this. I don't know if she will, but she did say she wants to read it. I'm encouraging her to read it. So I encourage everyone to read this. I am, of course, reading other books. There's other books that have a better plot, or the way they're written is smooth. I'd say like The Count of Monte Cristo, this is just one of the most incredibly written books, especially in this translation. It's so well written, so smooth. But he's not, Dumas is not trying to make the same type of book that Dostoevsky's trying to make. So it's not comparable. So this is a great book for just sitting back and enjoying it. This is an incredible book for making you think, challenging you. I was challenged, thinking I was Alyosha, and then kind of realizing like, wow, I think I was more Mitya or Dmitri. And yeah, it's just kind of, it's just a good book. So I highly recommend it. Definitely read it. Put it on your list of books to read, and challenge yourself. Take your time. I've only heard one person say that they hated this book and they couldn't find anything good in this whole book. I think you just have to be a hater. I am a Christian. I recommend this book. If you're atheist, if you're Christian, this isn't gonna just all of a sudden be like, oh, this is so pro-Christian. I think this is written in a way that anyone can read this, and even Dostoevsky said that his arguments that he made in The Grand Inquisitor, he was worried that they were too strong, they were too good. And there's some points, I'd say maybe in the chapter before Grand Inquisitor, it's like, dude, Ivan has some good points. He has great points. I mean, they're unarguable, basically. But he also, pulls through and tells a story of a great life. And you see Alyosha doing good things, and Ivan wrestling and with his with morality and his conscience, and even Dmitri, Mitya, wrestling as well. Just all around, this book is just great for anyone to read it. I don't think that you're gonna, if you're an atheist and you're reading this, you're going like, oh my gosh, this is so preachy. I don't think you're gonna find it like that. And if you're a Christian, I don't really feel like this is gonna like make you question your faith, but it's gonna challenge you. It's gonna make you ask tough questions and maybe questions that you never asked yourself before. And that's what Dostoevsky always said, that he needed to challenge himself with tough questions, and he believed in challenging himself and his beliefs. That's the way that our beliefs become stronger, was with good arguments. So yeah, this is a great argument, and it's a great book. I highly recommend it. All right, stay tuned. When I finish this, I will be doing a review on that as well. I'm also reading Don Quixote, which is right here. That's coming up. I'm reading a few chapters a day on both of those. And I just started this book, Silence, which is an excellent book so far. Can't wait to get into it. I really want to watch the movie. So, yeah. I'm going to hold off on doing my Project Hail Mary review because that is just like the hottest thing on the internet right now. And I did listen to an audiobook on it. I really loved it, but I'm probably going to hold off for a while on that one because that just... it's just too popular. I don't think I want to do that one. But I'm also listening to The Stand by Stephen King. I just wanted to give Stephen King a chance because some of the people I follow, they love him. I'm not really a fan of that. He's a little too, the way he writes, it's a little too dirty. It's a little too much cussing, too provocative. That's just not my style. But I do see why people love him. So I may do a review on that. People might not like that review just because it's based off of how the book makes me feel when I read it or listen to it. I'm doing an audiobook actually. And there's just some parts. If a majority of the book, like I wouldn't want other people to listen to it or read it, I'm not going to probably recommend it. So for me, I wouldn't want to own a book that I have on my bookshelf that if my kids picked it up and opened it up and started reading it, that I would be upset or I would have to hide the book or, that's just not how I am. And maybe that's weird. I don't think it's weird. I don't mind stories that challenge, like this. I don't mind stories that aren't religious in nature and everything like that. Totally fine with those. But language and just overall sense of like clean, I guess would be the word, cleanliness. I couldn't listen to that on speaker with my kids or with my wife even. I wouldn't recommend it to her because it's just too like too rough around the edges, I guess you'd say. But yeah, anyway, so I rambled on a little bit, but I do think it's important. Read Brothers Karamazov and stay tuned to further reviews. All right.